Hello everybody, welcome back to Bendy and the Dark Revival. You may be wondering, Pizza, why are you playing Bendy and the Dark Revival again? You beat the game. That's it. Well, although I have beaten the game, I still have other plans for it. But those other plans is not what I'm doing today. I want to pay it. You guys remember the archives from Bendy and the Ink Machine? It turns out this game also has archives. So I wanted to check it out today. Because after I beat the game, I discovered it. So yeah. It's the exit. I don't know if that takes me, like, if... I don't know if it takes me to the title screen. Ooh. Welcome to the archives. Bendy and the Dark Revival is filled with numerous characters that each had a critical role to play in the progression of the game. Here in the archives, you'll learn a bit more about them in an up-close and personal way. Feel free to explore. Bendy. Bendy, the iconic imp, was redesigned for Dark Revival to stand out a bit from his traditional cartoon appearance by giving him a suit of clothes. He posed some minor challenges, specifically creating a face that sported the classic Bendy eerie smile, but still managed to be heartwarming in the right conditions. He is a fan favorite, so his design had to be just right. During production, we originally envisioned Bendy to talk with a series of cute squeaks to contrast the dark, low voice of the Ink Demon, but this turned out to be very distracting, and the idea was scrapped pretty early on. Good. We're gonna use this for a thumbnail. Hold on, let me take a screenshot. I said screenshot. There we go. Screenshot. Bada boom. Alright. Okay, okay. Wilson cartoon. Wilson was a difficult character to balance. At first, the players are purposely led to believe he is a one-note character, obviously evil with an over-the-top villain personality, but as the story progresses, we see other sides of the character, and the player becomes muddled with who this man really is. In one draft, Wilson was written as a servant of Nathan Arch Jr., a separate character at the time, but the story made far more sense when the two characters became one, eliminating a lot of needless narrative complexity. Audrey cartoon. Audrey is a kind-hearted rogue with courage, determination, some flaws, and a deep, dark past. To make our story work, we needed a newcomer to the cartoon studio world, and Audrey with the perfect fresh eyes to help the experience the adventure. My bad. From day one of production, we knew that if people didn't connect with Audrey by the end of the game itself wouldn't be successful. Fortunately, she turned out to be quite memorable indeed and stands out from the other members of the cast. Here's the Ink Machine. The Ink Demon. As the world of Dark Revival became more complex and established, we realized the Ink Demon's design needed a complete rethink to match our new tone. Previous versions of his appearance looked absolutely silly when placed in the world alongside the other characters. No amount of creepy music or screen effects could conceal how out of place he looked. The Ink Demon needed to look different than everything else in the world and show a natural progression of the Ink Demon's evolution as Wilson held the cycle in place. When I first seen the Ink Demon, I genuinely, I wasn't that used to him because the horns and the teeth and everything. But now I actually really love the design. Oh, there's Beast Bendy. Returning for the climax of Dark Revival, Beast Bendy also was revisited with the mindset of making him far more powerful and beast-like. Traditionally, in most horror games, they tend to build a point where the main villain becomes the final form monster as a final boss. It's practically a trope. Our idea. What if you got to play as that final form instead? Yeah, there are a bunch of bodies of boss ones down there, and there's the end down there. The Ink Machine, designed by Thomas Connor of the Gent Corporation, stolen by Joey Drew, retrieved by Archgate, and once again reclaimed by Gent. The Ink Machine's next venture is a mystery. Okay, so I didn't show this, but there was a post-credit scene where the ink machine was like taken by the Gent Corporation. And I feel like for a third game, I think there's going to be a third game where Audrey and Bendy are going to try and break into the Gent building, like the actual Gent building in the real world, and try to reclaim the ink machine. And I feel like that they'll try to defeat like other characters like that, like Alan Gray or something. I feel like that'd be cool. Let's go up here. Okay, is Henry. Henry Stein, the original cycle breaker. Henry Stein is the ghost of a man who lost his purpose years ago, once fueled with finding a way to escape the tortures of the ink demon and finding his way home to his wife. Henry is now left with the cold reality of being a recreation of the person he thought he was. Saved as a special surprise for fans of the Bendy the Ink Machine game, Henry was strictly omitted from all the public discussion of the character during the entire production, which spanned several years. But Henry returned with a very satisfying base reveal. There's Allison. Allison, returning for another victory over the Ink Demon, Allison is always the voice of reason, a beacon of hope. Allison's design was carefully upgraded from the previous Bendy in the Ink Machine game to maintain her personality, but with more fidelity. The purpose of meeting Allison so early in the campaign was to introduce the player to a familiar face after the main introduction. At the start, Allison was able to serve as the motivating force for Audrey until the true plot kicked in later. Literally, we see Allison at like just before chapter 1, and then like she returns at the end of chapter 4, just before chapter 5. Wait, no. I'm an idiot. In the middle of chapter 5. I'm such an idiot. Oh my god. Tom. Tom is Allison's silent protector and the only Boris clone involved in the main story. Whereas Boris the Wolf, rumor has it that during the events of the game, Boris is experiencing a dark survival story of his own. So, this ties into Boris and the Dark Survival, a spin-off game. Oh, that looks interesting. I'll look in there later. Betty, a faithful maid, among other things. To Wilson, Betty was an important character to the story of Dark Revival. As a failed experiment and someone relatively new to the cartoon studio, she was able to give a somewhat different point of view on the state of the world. We have purposely left it unclear if Betty was in on Wilson's plot to harvest Audrey, or if she's just a bystander. Behind her mask, there are still answers to be found. In the credits scene, we see her walking to her mask. So there is something beyond her mask. Like, is she a human or not? I don't really know, but you know. Joy Drew, memory. The man, the legend, the memory. Creating this version of Joy Drew was both an exciting and daunting process. It was clear from the start that this Joy would be different. Hold on. Gotta move my mouse. It was clear from the start that this Joy would be different from the one from the original Bendy the Ink Machine game. This was a man with all the guilt from a past life, but without the experience to fully understand it. The real Joey Drew made many mistakes, but ultimately learned from them. This doesn't absolve him from his sins, but at the end of his life, he was able to help correct some of them and help fight the darkness he created. Yeah. Go see what's in here. Oh. The real life. That is so weird, like looking like at a cartoon area and then boom, real life. That's just weird. Alright. Audrey, the unknowing daughter of an animation pioneer. Audrey has blocked out the memory of her past after losing her father. But his role in her life was not over. A talented animator and artist, her skills landed her a job at Archgate. Was it fate that led her to reunite with Joey Drew's machine, the machine of her birth, or was it planned? Real quick, let me just think of something. I think since Nathan Arch knew Joey Drew, he must have known something about the ink machine. Or Wilson maybe no. Speaking of Wilson. Haunted by the impossible shadow of Nathan Arch, Wilson sought to achieve something that would make his father proud. By luck, he stumbled upon the ink machine and was able to become the cartoon world's new master. Holding the cycle in place, he continued his experiments that could not fully be realized until the ink demon was purged. However, unnaturally entering from the ink realm has taken a toll on Wilson's physical being, slowly robbing him of his health. That explains why he looks the way he does, with like that eye. There's Nathan Arch. Oh, Nathan Arch Sr. Nathan Arch was everything Joey Drew wasn't. He worked hard, built up from nothing, and never compromised his integrity. Joey had big dreams, but Nathan accomplished his own dreams. He and his wife Tessa raised a son with as much love and care as they could, despite Nathan's career pressures. Sadly, his son did not share Nathan's natural talent for business and enterprise. Yeah, doesn't look like it. It is sad, so I'm gonna head out. Now let's go on the other side. Over here. I see Sammy over there. I'm gonna go over here. I'm gonna go over here. The Keepers. Wilson's deadly guards and scientists. They aren't perfect, but the Keepers will get the job done, no matter the cost. They are responsible for pressing the ink demon inside a small form, Bendy, keeping his power sealed away until Audrey came along and unknowingly changed the situation. The Keepers were visually designed to reflect the dangers and evils of the ink machine itself. Faceless beings made of gears and wires, with no sense of morality, ordered to run like cattle, a creation living without purpose. There's the Butcher Gang. Oh wait, is that Fisher? Oh, they all have the same description. Yeah. I didn't see Fisher, like, the entirety of the game. Yeah. Barley, Charlie, and Edgar. The three original members of the Butcher Gang were formed from the ink machine, deconstructed by Alice Angel for body parts, and bond together to stay alive with sneak attacks on their prey. In Dark Revival, we meet an artificial fourth member of the gang, Carly, the ghost girl, although when you begin to examine her closely, Carly appears to only be a shell, with perhaps someone inside. We never really actually got to see Carly at all. Like, I mean, we did at this farm. We did, like, I think that it might have been her in that, like, it might have been her in the, that little box we found. I don't think you can open it, though. So, good thing we didn't have to. Also, I probably didn't really want to open it in the first place. Oh yeah, I forgot. I can't sprint, that stinks. Alright. Porter. As the cycle was held in place and with the influence of the ink demon held at bay, the cartoon world was able to grow and advance, creating such characters as Porter, a lost one who came to claim a new identity as an explorer. Porter was written with the knowledge that Dark Revival would feature a far more serious tone than the first game of Bendy and the Ink Machine, and his lighthearted innocence would help the player feel some worth in this inky world of sorrow. Yeah, we only saw Porter twice in the game. Heidi. It is believed that Heidi has spent some time in the pit, a prison set up by Wilson and the Keepers. It is unclear why, but mostly likely she was able to access places she shouldn't have. The experience in the pit changed her, as it does many, rooting her into a childlike state, longing for happiness again. Explains why she looks so, like, younger compared to the Porter and the other lost ones. There's Sammy. Sammy Lawrence, the famous music composer of the studio. Sammy Lawrence originally had a slightly larger role in the story of Dark Revival, but in a story already filled with so many characters, making them all play a meaningful part became a challenge. He was ultimately sidelined in favor of telling a more coherent storyline. Although it is interesting to note that Sammy Lawrence appears to have mastered the flow ability in Bendy the Ink Machine long before Porter and Audrey could weld it. It explains how he was able to travel through walls in Borson the Dark Survival, and I'm assuming he didn't in Bendy the Ink Machine, because if you remember in Chapter 2 of the original game, we see Sammy walk down a hallway, and then we went around the corner, he was gone. Okay, there's this. Oh, here's Alice Angel, the self-appointed queen of the studio. Alice Angel is one of the most memorable faces in the Bendy world. Forever lost in a tide of insanity, she is an absolute delight to write for as a character. An angel with many layers, time will only tell if this inky temptress will ever reappear. Kinda hoping she reappears. Although I didn't really like her that much, she's a good character. I really like her, but the only reason I don't like her is because she killed Boris in the original game. So. Oh, that thing. I remember. Ship Ahoy Dudley, the demented invention of Wilson. Created to serve the dual purpose of dethroning the Ink Demon in the cartoon world. And also upstaging Joy Drew in the eyes of Wilson's father, Nathan Arch. Neither of these happen. Ship Ahoy Dudley is a mysterious sailor with his own eerie grin, similar to that of Bendy, along with his sidekick Crackle the Crab. It is unknown just what kind of cartoon adventures they would have had together. So that's the cartoon version. That's the monster version. But you can kind of see Wilson's body in there, but it's it's white. It's not there. It's textureless or something. And I noticed that this Ship Ahoy Dudley, he has the crab legs that's Crackle the Crab right there, I'm pretty sure. That Crackle the Crab has. So that might explain those. Oh, I remember. King Widow. Ink Widows. Oh, they're called Widows! That's what they're called. I wonder what they were called. But yeah. Ink Widows have begun to infest where the light grows darkest. Their king, the biggest and most feared, will only emerge from his nest when its young are threatened. Explains a lot. The Lurker, or Steve as he became to be known. Who was Steve? Was originally created as a brute-type enemy that would free roam the way the Lost Ones do, but ultimately felt unnecessary as the random Ink Demon encounters already fulfilled the role of putting in the player on edge while exploring previous traversed locations. In the end, the Lurker found a much better calling as an unlikely ally, effectively expanding him into more than just a typical enemy. I think that's it. Lord Amok, ruler of a sewer cult. Lord Amok illustrates how the world of the Ink had continued to develop into different societies deep within the darkest places. Though he was weak at a fight, his name will simply never die. Yeah, he was also kind of weak because I got him stuck when I fought him in Chapter 3. I think that's it. Oh, yeah, I just remembered. I was going to see what that led to. I feel like it'll just take me back to the title screen, so I'm just gonna check. Oh, yeah, it does. Alright. Thank you guys so much for watching. Bendy the Dark Revival. It was a blast to play. I know I said that already, but it was a really good game. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Goodbye!